Well, thank you, Conrad, for that cooler forecast right there. But we're here to talk about a little bit of medical stuff today. According to the CDC, October is National Protect Your Hearing Month, a time to raise awareness about what you need to do to protect your hearing. And today, we're happy to welcome Nurse Christina Paris to the couch. Thank you for joining for another segment of Nurse in the North.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, always happy you made it on in. So tell us a little bit about this, and we'll listen closely.
Okay. A little fun there. I like it.
So how does hearing loss occur, and how is it measured?
Yeah, absolutely. So really quick, just when we hear sounds, it goes into our ear and vibrates along the tympanic membrane, which then hits these little bones that go through this snail-like structure where the nerve impulse is picked up and sent to the brain. In that little snail structure, we have these little tiny hair cells that's what picks up the nerve signal and sends it to the brain. And when we're exposed to loud noises, and that causes those hairs to get damaged. And oftentimes when we actually go in for hearing loss, we have already sustained like 50% of hearing damage.
Oh, wow.
And so, 40 million adults in the United States have a hearing loss between the ages of 20 and 69. So it definitely affects people your age too. And so decibels above 85. So normal conversation is usually around 60 to 70 decibels.
Oh, goodness, that seems loud.
Yeah, but still not above the 85. Lawnmower, though, now we're starting to get a little higher. That's 80 to 100. Motorcycles are 80 to 110. Music, you know, we all like to put in our earbuds. Yep. And sporting events, like baseball games, football games, concerts, are anywhere from 94 to 110. And loud noises, so if you're at a really loud concert, something above 120 can cause immediate harm. So, you know, just going to a concert. But now a lot of these things are for prolonged periods of time. So it's if you are constantly doing that. Now, you all have to have these hearing things in. I do too. With my job. I have to have a headset on all day too. So I try to do what I can to keep the volume, you know,
as minimal as possible.
Exactly, to try to protect our hearing.
Yeah, so I was in the Army National Guard. We did artillery. There was a lot of, you know, younger soldiers in their teens and 20s that they're like, hey, I'm fine. I'm not going to put in earbuds. And the thing is, when we're doing artillery, we're firing big weapon systems where the decimal is probably in the hundreds at least. So what do you recommend for, you know, my soldiers or anyone watching and stuff like that? Even in little situations like that, and you're young, you still have to be careful. Is that
correct? And so being an ex-military nurse, I can tell you that we did provide hearing protection.
They're everywhere.
Whether you wanted to use them or not. But yes, so you can pick them up from the store, anywhere. You can get those soft, smushy ones. That you can put in your ears and it'll kind of open up once they're in. Otherwise, getting those over-the-ear ones, you'll see them, hunters who are out maybe sighting their rifles or something, will put them on. My husband wears them when he mows the lawn to try to protect his hearing.
And even some of them have like little radio dials on them as well. Which is kind of entertaining to see. My dad has that for the lawnmower. He loves it.
So where you can listen to music?
Yes, exactly. So it's like the protection headphones, but it also has a little antenna on it, so he tunes into the radio station.
But you have to be careful, because are you turning the radio up louder because of the lawnmower things to hear?
I've used it myself, and I can safely say that it is definitely broken. It does not go very loud.
Well, that's good. That's good for your dad. If for veterans, though, really anyone, if you've experienced hearing loss, you want to go in and talk to your doctor. They can run some hearing tests, send you to the audiologist. And some of the things that you'll want to watch for are going to be like muffled sounds. So when you're talking to somebody, it's going to sound a little more muffled. Maybe hearing high-pitched sounds are going to be harder. That's the first hearing loss, is the higher tones.
Is that why they have the beep test?
Yes, and it'll check, but that also checks the lower tones too, to see where you're at, where you're hearing
We
loss
would do
is.
those every year in the Army, so
Right.
you know what I'm talking
to
about,
see
yeah.
Where,
The
to
examinations.
measure where you're at, exactly. And we all experience, well, I already said that, some hearing loss due to environmental, but the high frequencies go first. And high frequency is what also allows you to filter out background noise. So people who have hearing loss have a hard time in noisy places, such as the restaurants or things, because it's that higher frequency that filters. And when we lose those and damaged, of course, they're going to have a harder time. Asking others to speak up, slower, clearer, speak more loudly, repeating themselves, hearing maybe a ringing in your ears. You find that you're turning up the volume higher on your television or radio. And then certain sounds can cause pain or discomfort too. And so those are all kind of signs that maybe you need to go and talk to your provider.
Right. So is there anything we should do to prevent the hearing loss initially?
Yeah, so absolutely. Of course, you want to protect your hearing. You want to turn volume down. You want to walk away from loud noises if possible. Take breaks from noises, so maybe turn the radio off if needed. And then avoid loud activities or places in where you're hearing protection.
That's
great pointers.
No, always good to be safe. Don't your hearing. You only got one hearing you're given, so you got to be careful with it. You want to be able to hear everything. From day one to day 100,000 down the road.
Yeah, no matter how old you are, you could be 18, you could lose your hearing just like that.
Absolutely, and some people lose it just due to damage to the ear canal, maybe ear wax, things like that. So there is some things that can cause the hearing, not just from noise pollution.
Well, good to know. Well, thanks for coming on this morning. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Well,